Respect isn't given freely, it's earned through our actions, our words, and the way we carry ourselves. Yet many people unknowingly hold on to habits that push respect away rather than attract it. You might be working hard, striving for success, and doing your best, but if you're holding on to certain toxic behaviors, they could be silently sabotaging your ability to be respected. Today, I want to challenge you to take a hard look at yourself. Are you doing things that make people see you as unreliable, weak, or unworthy of their trust? If so, it's time to change. Because when you let go of the wrong habits, you make room for the right ones. The ones that earn you the respect and admiration you truly deserve. Let's dive in and uncover the 5 habits that could be holding you back from gaining the respect you've been working for. It's time to drop them, starting now. Making excuses is one of the most detrimental habits that can prevent a person from earning the respect they deserve. Excuses create a barrier between where you are and where you want to be, preventing growth, accountability, and personal development. People who frequently make excuses often find themselves stuck in the same situations, unable to move forward because they refuse to take responsibility for their actions and decisions. Respect is built on trust and accountability, and when you make excuses, it signals to others that you are unwilling to take control of your own life. One of the most common reasons people make excuses is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or even fear of success. It's easy to say, I didn't have enough time, rather than admitting that you didn't manage your time well. It's more comfortable to blame external circumstances instead of acknowledging that you could have done better. The problem with this mindset is that it creates a cycle where excuses become a habit, and over time, they erode not only your own self-respect, but also the respect others have for you. When people see someone constantly making excuses, they begin to question their reliability, honesty, and work ethic. No one respects a person who always has an excuse for why things aren't working out. Another reason people make excuses is to protect their ego. No one likes to admit when they are wrong or when they have failed. It can be difficult to accept that you made a mistake or that your shortcomings led to an undesirable outcome. However, shifting the blame onto someone or something else doesn't change the reality of the situation. It only damages your credibility. People respect those who have the courage to admit their mistakes, learn from them, and take responsibility for improving. When you make excuses, you are essentially saying, I am not in control of my life. That mindset can be incredibly damaging, not only to your reputation, but also to your personal growth. Making excuses also prevents you from developing resilience. Life is full of challenges and setbacks, and those who earn respect are the ones who face these obstacles head-on rather than avoiding them. When you make excuses, you rob yourself of the opportunity to learn from difficulties and become stronger as a result. Instead of finding ways to overcome obstacles, you allow yourself to remain stuck, always finding reasons why you can't move forward. People who are respected are those who acknowledge their setbacks but use them as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. They take ownership of their actions, accept their mistakes, and commit to doing better next time. In professional settings, making excuses can severely impact your credibility and reputation. Imagine a leader who constantly blames their team for missed deadlines or poor performance. Over time, their team will lose respect for them, because true leadership is about taking responsibility, not shifting blame. On the other hand, a leader who acknowledges their role in a failure and works to fix the issue earns the trust and respect of those around them. The same applies to employees, students, or anyone striving to build a solid reputation. If you are always making excuses for why your work isn't done, why you missed a deadline, or why you didn't achieve a goal, people will see you as unreliable. Reliability is one of the key traits that earn respect, and it starts with eliminating excuses. Excuses also affect personal relationships. When people make excuses, they often let others down. Imagine a friend who is always late but blames traffic every single time instead of admitting that they didn't plan their schedule well. Over time, their excuses will become predictable and their reliability will diminish. The same goes for broken promises. If you constantly make commitments but fail to follow through while offering excuses, people will stop believing in you. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and making excuses weakens that trust. People respect those who do what they say they will do, not those who always have a reason why they couldn't follow through. Excuse making also affects self-respect. When you constantly justify your failures or lack of progress with excuses, you start believing them yourself. You convince yourself that your circumstances are beyond your control, that external factors are always to blame, and that you are powerless to change your situation. This mindset creates a victim mentality, which is the opposite of what earns respect. People admire those who take control of their own lives, who recognize their power to change their circumstances, and who take action instead of finding reasons why they can't. Self-respect comes from knowing that you are capable, responsible, and in control of your own destiny. Making excuses strips you of that empowerment and keeps you stuck in the same pattern. Breaking the habit of making excuses requires self-awareness and a commitment to change. The first step is recognizing when you are making an excuse. Ask yourself, am I truly unable to do this? Or am I just avoiding responsibility? Is this reason legitimate, or am I just afraid of failure? Once you become aware of the excuses you make, you can start replacing them with accountability. Instead of saying, I didn't have time, say, I didn't prioritize my time well. Instead of saying, it wasn't my fault, say, here's what I could have done differently. This shift in mindset not only helps you grow as a person, but also earns you the respect of those around you. Taking responsibility also means being proactive about finding solutions instead of focusing on problems. People who make excuses dwell on why something didn't work, while people who earn respect look for ways to make things work. They take ownership of challenges and find ways to overcome them. If they make a mistake, they learn from it rather than trying to justify it. This proactive approach earns respect because it demonstrates resilience, determination, and integrity. Another important step in eliminating excuses is developing a strong work ethic. Many excuses stem from laziness or a lack of discipline. People respect those who are consistent, hardworking, and committed to their goals. If you constantly find reasons why you can't do something, you will never achieve the level of respect you desire. Hard work speaks for itself, and those who put in the effort, take initiative, and follow through on their commitments naturally earn the trust and admiration of others. It's also important to surround yourself with people who hold you accountable. If you spend time with people who also make excuses, it becomes easier to justify your own. But if you surround yourself with people who take responsibility for their actions, who push themselves to improve, and who challenge you to do the same, you will naturally start adopting that mindset. The people you associate with have a strong influence on your behavior, so choose wisely. Another key aspect of eliminating excuses is developing confidence. Many excuses come from self-doubt. People avoid taking responsibility because they are afraid they are not good enough. They fear that admitting a mistake will make them look weak. But in reality, it does the opposite. Owning up to your shortcomings shows confidence and maturity. It tells people that you are strong enough to handle criticism and learn from it. Confidence is a key factor in earning respect, and it starts with taking ownership of your actions. At the core of it all, making excuses is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. It takes effort, awareness, and a commitment to personal growth. The people who earn the most respect in life are those who refuse to make excuses, who take full responsibility for their successes and failures, and who continuously strive to be better. When you drop the habit of making excuses, you open the door to growth, credibility, and the kind of respect that lasts. Seeking constant validation is a habit that silently erodes self-respect and prevents others from seeing you as a confident, capable individual. It stems from an internal insecurity that makes you rely on external approval to feel worthy. People who constantly seek validation often doubt their own decisions, second-guess themselves, and hesitate to take action without reassurance from others. While it's natural to want some level of affirmation, excessive dependency on it can weaken your self-image and make you appear unsure of yourself. Respect is earned through confidence, self-assurance, and an ability to stand by your own choices. If you are always looking for approval, people may begin to see you as someone who lacks conviction and the ability to trust their own judgment. One of the main reasons people seek validation is the fear of making mistakes. They feel that if they receive approval from others before making a decision, they are less likely to fail or be judged. However, this reliance on external validation removes the ability to think independently and develop strong decision-making skills. People who are respected are those who trust their own instincts, even if they sometimes get things wrong. They know that mistakes are part of growth and do not need constant reassurance to move forward. When you seek validation excessively, you put yourself in a position where your self-worth depends on the opinions of others rather than on your own beliefs and values. This can make you easily influenced, unable to take risks, and hesitant to make choices without someone else's approval. Another issue with seeking constant validation: when people sense that you rely heavily on their approval, they may take advantage of this need to control or influence your decisions. They might use flattery, guilt, or disapproval to sway you in a direction that benefits them rather than you. People who are respected do not allow their self-worth to be dictated by others. They make their choices based on what they believe is right, not based on whether others will approve. By constantly seeking validation, you give away your personal power and allow others to dictate your emotions, self-esteem, and actions. People who seek constant validation often struggle with self-doubt. They may worry excessively about what others think, fearing criticism or rejection. This fear can be paralyzing, preventing them from speaking up, taking initiative, or stepping out of their comfort zones. They may avoid expressing their opinions unless they are sure others will agree. And they may hesitate to make decisions without consulting multiple people first. However, respect is earned by those who have the courage to stand by their beliefs, even if others disagree. Confidence does not come from always being right. It comes from being willing to take a stance and own your choices. People respect those who have the strength to think for themselves and move forward without needing constant reassurance. Another downside to seeking constant validation is that it can lead to inauthenticity. When someone is overly concerned with gaining approval, they may begin to mold themselves into what they think others want them to be. They may change their opinions, behaviors, or even their personality just to fit in or be liked. Over time, this can make them lose their sense of identity and personal integrity. People respect those who are genuine, even if they are imperfect. When you constantly try to please everyone, you dilute your own uniqueness and lose the ability to stand out as an individual. Respect is given to those who remain true to themselves, regardless of whether everyone agrees with them. Social media has intensified the habit of seeking validation. Many people measure their self-worth by the number of likes, comments, and shares they receive. They post not because they genuinely want to share something, but because they crave the approval of others. They may feel discouraged if their posts don't receive enough engagement, as if their value is tied to social media attention. This kind of validation-seeking behavior can become addictive, creating a cycle where self-esteem fluctuates based on external reaction. People who are truly respected do not let their confidence waver based on numbers on a screen. They know their worth exists, regardless of how much recognition they receive from others. Seeking validation can also affect professional success. Employees who constantly look for approval from their bosses or colleagues may be seen as lacking initiative and independence. A person who cannot make decisions without approval is not viewed as a leader, but as someone who needs to be guided at every step. In the workplace, respect is given to those who take ownership of their tasks, think critically, and make confident decisions. If you are always waiting for permission, afraid to take risks, or hesitant to offer your own ideas, you may struggle to gain the respect of your peers and superiors. Leaders, entrepreneurs, and successful individuals are often those who trust their instincts and move forward, even when others doubt them. They do not need to be constantly reassured because they believe in their own abilities. Another danger of validation seeking is that it can lead to people-pleasing. When you crave approval, you may start saying yes to things you don't truly want to do, just to avoid disappointing others. You may sacrifice your own needs, overcommit, or suppress your opinions in an effort to be liked. However, people do not respect those who are easily swayed or who never stand up for themselves. True respect comes from setting boundaries, knowing when to say no, and valuing your own needs as much as others. People admire those who are kind but firm, generous but not self-sacrificing, and considerate without being a pushover. Building self-confidence is the key to breaking free from the habit of seeking constant validation. Confidence is not about always being right, but about being secure enough in yourself to make decisions without fear of judgment. When you trust your own judgment, you do not need others to confirm that you are making the right choices. This does not mean you should never seek feedback. Constructive input is valuable, but it means that your self-worth should not be dependent on external approval. Confident people listen to advice, but ultimately make their own decisions. They are willing to take risks, embrace failure, and learn from their experiences. Developing self-assurance requires self-awareness. Pay attention to when and why you seek validation. Are you looking for reassurance before making a decision? Are you hesitant to express your thoughts because you fear disapproval? Are you relying on others to tell you that you are good enough? Recognizing these patterns can help you begin to shift your mindset. Instead of looking for external approval, practice affirming yourself. Remind yourself that you are capable of making good decisions, that your worth is not determined by others' opinions, and that mistakes do not define you. Another important step is embracing discomfort. Seeking validation often comes from a desire to avoid uncomfortable feelings like rejection, criticism, or uncertainty. However, these feelings are a natural part of life. People who earn respect do not shy away from discomfort. They face it head on. They understand that not everyone will approve of them, and they accept that as part of being an independent thinker. Learning to be comfortable with disagreement, failure, and uncertainty is essential for developing confidence. It is also helpful to surround yourself with people who encourage self-reliance rather than constant approval seeking. If you are always around people who feed your need for validation, it can be difficult to break the habit. Instead, seek out mentors, friends, or colleagues who challenge you to trust yourself more. They will push you to take risks, make decisions without overthinking, and believe in your abilities. The more you practice self-trust, the less you will feel the need to seek approval from others. Respect comes from authenticity, confidence, and self-assurance. When you stop seeking constant validation, you reclaim your power and begin to build true self-respect. You no longer need external approval to feel worthy, And as a result, people start to see you as someone who is strong, capable, and worthy of admiration. Dishonesty is one of the most damaging habits that can destroy trust, credibility, and ultimately respect. People who are dishonest may believe that lying, exaggerating, or withholding the truth can help them avoid consequences, make themselves look better, or manipulate situations in their favor. However, dishonesty often has the opposite effect. It leads to broken relationships, loss of credibility, and a reputation that is difficult to repair. Respect is built on trust, and trust cannot exist when someone is known for being dishonest. Even small lies can accumulate over time, creating an image of someone who cannot be relied upon. People who consistently tell the truth, even when it is difficult, earn the respect of others, because honesty is a sign of strength, integrity, and self-respect. One of the most common reasons people resort to dishonesty is fear. Fear of being judged, fear of failure, or fear of disappointing others. When faced with uncomfortable situations, some people choose to lie rather than confront the truth. They may exaggerate their accomplishments, downplay their mistakes, or shift blame to others. However, while a lie may provide temporary relief, it creates long-term problems. Lies require more lies to sustain them, and eventually the truth surfaces, often at the worst possible moment. When someone is caught being dishonest, it damages their reputation far more than if they had simply told the truth in the first place. People respect those who take responsibility for their actions, even when they make mistakes. A person who admits their faults and works to improve earns far more respect than someone who constantly deceives others to protect their ego. Dishonesty also erodes self-respect. When a person lies, they are not only deceiving others, but also themselves. Over time, dishonesty becomes a habit, making it easier to justify further lies and manipulations. This can lead to feelings of guilt, anxiety, and insecurity. Deep down, dishonest people often know that they are not being true to themselves, which can create inner conflict. On the other hand, honesty allows people to stand by their words and actions with confidence. People who are truthful do not have to constantly remember what they said, fear being exposed, or worry about being caught in contradictions. They carry themselves with integrity, which makes others respect them more. Another reason dishonesty destroys respect is that it weakens relationships. Trust is the foundation of any strong connection, whether personal or professional. When someone is known to be dishonest, people become cautious around them, questioning their words and intentions. Friends, colleagues, and even family members may begin to distance themselves because they feel they cannot rely on the person to be truthful. Lies create doubt, and once doubt enters a relationship, it is difficult to rebuild trust. Even a single lie can cause lasting damage, especially if it involves betrayal, deception, or manipulation. People respect those who are straightforward and truthful, even when the truth is not what they want to hear. Honesty fosters deeper connections, while dishonesty pushes people away. In the workplace, dishonesty can have serious consequences. Employees who lie about their skills, experience, or performance may initially benefit, but eventually the truth will catch up with them. If an employer discovers that an employee has been dishonest, it can lead to loss of opportunities, damaged professional relationships, and even termination. Leaders who lie to their teams lose credibility, and once credibility is lost, it is almost impossible to regain. People want to work with and for individuals they can trust. When someone is known for being honest, they are more likely to be promoted, given responsibility, and viewed as a reliable team member. A reputation for honesty opens doors, while a reputation for dishonesty closes them. Dishonesty also damages personal growth. When a person lies to themselves, they prevent themselves from acknowledging their weaknesses and making necessary improvements. Self-deception can be just as harmful as lying to others because it creates a false reality that prevents genuine progress. Someone who constantly makes excuses or blames others instead of facing their own shortcomings will never grow. People who are respected are those who are honest with themselves, who recognize their areas for improvement, and who take action to become better. Accepting the truth, even when it is uncomfortable, is a sign of strength, and strength is what earns respect. Some people justify dishonesty by claiming that certain lies are harmless or necessary. While it is true that not all lies cause immediate harm, dishonesty always carries risks. Even small lies can lead to bigger ones, and once a person starts lying, it becomes easier to continue. Over time, they may lose sight of what is true and what is not. People respect those who uphold their values consistently, not those who bend the truth whenever it is convenient. Integrity means being truthful in all aspects of life, not just when it is easy. People who are honest, even when it is difficult, show that they have strong character, which naturally earns them respect. Honesty also builds confidence. When people tell the truth, they do not have to live in fear of being exposed. They do not have to keep track of lies, worry about contradictions, or constantly try to maintain a false image. Instead, they can stand by their words with certainty. Confidence is attractive, and people respect those who are secure in who they are. Honesty, on the other hand, creates insecurity. People who lie often do so because they feel inadequate in some way. They may believe that the truth is not good enough, so they fabricate stories to impress others. However, true respect comes from authenticity, not deception. When people see that someone is real, genuine, and unafraid to be themselves, they naturally respect them more. Another important reason to eliminate dishonesty is that it affects mental well-being. Keeping up with lies can be exhausting. The stress of maintaining a false narrative, the fear of being caught, and the guilt of deception can take a toll on a person's mind. Honesty, on the other hand, brings peace of mind. When people live truthfully, they do not have to carry the burden of deception. They can move through life with a clear conscience, knowing that they are being true to themselves and to others. Inner peace contributes to confidence, and confidence contributes to respect. Dishonesty can also create a cycle of negativity. When a person lies, they often attract other dishonest individuals. Dishonest people tend to surround themselves with others who share the same mindset because honesty threatens their way of operating. This can create a toxic environment where deceit is normalized. However, people who are honest attract others who value integrity. They build meaningful relationships with those who respect and trust them, leading to healthier and more fulfilling connections. People who are respected are those who can be counted on to tell the truth even when it is difficult. They do not manipulate, deceive, or exaggerate for personal gain. Instead, they uphold their values, admit when they are wrong, and take responsibility for their actions. They understand that respect is not earned through deception, but through integrity. Dishonesty might offer short-term advantages, but it never leads to lasting respect. In the end, people remember those who were truthful, consistent, and trustworthy. Negative self-talk is one of the most destructive habits that can prevent a person from earning the respect they deserve. The way you speak to yourself shapes your mindset, influences your actions, and ultimately determines how others perceive you. When you constantly criticize yourself, doubt your abilities, or focus on your weaknesses, you create an internal environment that holds you back from reaching your full potential. People who earn respect carry themselves with confidence, believe in their worth, and project a strong sense of self-assurance. However, when negative self-talk takes over, it erodes self-esteem, making it difficult to present yourself as someone who commands respect. One of the biggest problems with negative self-talk is that it reinforces limiting beliefs. When you repeatedly tell yourself that you are not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, you begin to believe it. Your brain absorbs these messages and they become part of your identity. If you convince yourself that you will fail, you may hesitate to take risks or pursue new opportunities. If you constantly tell yourself that people do not respect you, you may start acting in ways that invite disrespect. The more you engage in negative self-talk, the more you condition yourself to accept failure, rejection, and mediocrity as inevitable. People who are respected do not allow self-doubt to control them. They acknowledge their weaknesses but refuse to let them define their potential. Another major consequence of negative self-talk is that it affects body language and communication. People who struggle with self-doubt often exhibit signs of insecurity in the way they carry themselves. They may slouch, avoid eye contact, speak softly, or hesitate when expressing their thoughts. These subtle behaviors send a message to others that they lack confidence, making it less likely for people to take them seriously. On the other hand, those who believe in themselves project an aura of confidence through their posture, voice, and presence. Respect is often given to those who appear sure of themselves, not necessarily to those who are the most talented or intelligent. Even if you are highly skilled, negative self-talk can cause you to downplay your abilities, making it harder for others to recognize your value. Negative self-talk also impacts decision-making. When you constantly question your choices and fear making mistakes, you become paralyzed by indecision. People who are respected are those who can make confident decisions and stand by them. If you are always second-guessing yourself, seeking excessive reassurance, or hesitating to take action, others may see you as unreliable or unsure of yourself. Respect is built on decisiveness and a willingness to take responsibility for one's actions. When you replace negative self-talk with constructive self-encouragement, you develop the confidence needed to make strong choices without fear of failure or criticism. Another way negative self-talk damages respect is by influencing the way you respond to challenges. People who are constantly critical of themselves tend to give up more easily when faced with setbacks. They interpret failure as proof of their inadequacy, rather than as an opportunity to learn and grow. Those who earn respect are not those who never fail, but those who persist despite failure. When you engage in negative self-talk, you reinforce the belief that setbacks are permanent, that you are incapable of overcoming obstacles, and that your efforts are pointless. This mindset leads to a lack of resilience, making it difficult for others to see you as someone who can handle challenges with strength and determination. Negative self-talk also affects relationships. People who constantly criticize themselves often struggle to form deep, meaningful connections because their insecurity makes them either overly defensive or excessively self-deprecating. When someone frequently puts themselves down, it can make others uncomfortable or create an imbalance in the relationship. While humility is an admirable trait, constantly speaking negatively about yourself can make people lose confidence in you. Respect is given to those who believe in themselves, who recognize their worth, and who carry themselves with self-assurance. If you are always doubting yourself, apologizing unnecessarily, or diminishing your achievements, others may start to see you as less capable than you actually are. Another dangerous aspect of negative self-talk is that it invites external negativity. When you consistently put yourself down, you signal to others that it is acceptable to do the same. People who respect themselves set a standard for how they expect to be treated. If you constantly talk about your flaws, dismiss your accomplishments, or make self-deprecating jokes, others may start to adopt the same attitude toward you. Respect is built when you demand it, not by force, but by the way you carry yourself. Those who speak about themselves with confidence and self-worth naturally encourage others to treat them with the same level of respect. Negative self-talk can also prevent you from taking opportunities that could lead to growth and success. Many people miss out on valuable experiences because they convince themselves that they are not ready, not talented enough, or not deserving of success. This type of thinking creates a cycle of missed opportunities, reinforcing the false belief that they are not capable. Those who are respected are not necessarily those who have the most experience or knowledge, but those who are willing to step outside their comfort zones. When you replace self-doubt with self-belief, you start seizing opportunities with confidence, which naturally earns the admiration of others. One of the ways to overcome negative self-talk is to become aware of the words you use when speaking to yourself. Many people engage in self-criticism so frequently that they do not even realize they are doing it. Paying attention to your internal dialogue is the first step toward changing it. Instead of saying, "I always mess things up," shift your thinking to, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from it." Instead of thinking, "No one respects me," reframe it as, "I am working on becoming someone people admire." The way you phrase your thoughts has a powerful impact on your mindset and behavior. Another important step is to challenge the truth of your negative thoughts. Often, self-critical thoughts are exaggerated or completely false. When you catch yourself thinking, "I will never be successful," ask yourself if there is real evidence to support that belief. More often than not, negative self-talk is based on emotions rather than facts. People who earn respect train themselves to question unhelpful thoughts and replace them with more constructive perspectives. They recognize that failures do not define them, that setbacks are temporary, and that they have the ability to improve. Surrounding yourself with positive influences can also help combat negative self-talk. The people you spend time with have a strong impact on how you see yourself. If you are around those who constantly criticize, discourage, or belittle you, it becomes much harder to develop self-respect. On the other hand, being around supportive, encouraging individuals can help reinforce positive beliefs about yourself. Respect is built by those who actively choose to cultivate an environment that nurtures their confidence and self-worth. Taking action despite self-doubt is another key to overcoming negative self-talk. Many people wait until they feel confident before taking risks. But confidence often comes after action, not before. People who earn respect are those who push forward even when they are uncertain. They understand that discomfort is part of growth, and that waiting for the perfect moment or absolute certainty will only lead to missed opportunities. When you act with courage despite self-doubt, you build a track record of achievements that naturally strengthen self-respect and earn the respect of others. Developing a habit of speaking to yourself with the same kindness and encouragement you would offer a friend is essential. Many people are their own harshest critics, saying things to themselves that they would never say to someone else. If you would not call a friend a failure, worthless, or incapable, then you should not say those things to yourself. Respect starts from within, and when you treat yourself with dignity and self-compassion, others will follow.